So apparently one of Shane over there at DLT, somebody reached out to him. I think he said they reached out to him on Instagram. His name's Travis. And I think he said he was like 48 years old or something like that. And he was, you know, asking Shane and I guess Shane's viewers, you know, what, you know, should he, you know, make the plunge and, you know, into the lawn care game. And I told Shane that I'd touch on that in my video today. But before I do all that, Travis, you know, all these guys that are in the comments, you know, Randall over there at Elite and Silver 1154 and Griffin Lawn Care and Luciano and then Eddie H, Lynn Samuel, Tucker's Dreamscapes, the Yard Boy, Edward Molina, what we got, Eastside Lawn Care, who else is in there? Randall Norris, Eric McKelvey, oh, and Tom Dovey, he knows a lot too. Dan 13, Elite Lawn, and Scott Murphy. All the comments that these guys left in the video, they're on point. And you know, but everybody has their own thing that they point out that, you know, that the other one might not have pointed out, and if you took the advice of any of these guys that I just read off that are in the comments, you couldn't go wrong, really. Now I'll touch on it a little bit more. The number one thing that I think, I got a disclaimer too. I don't know if you knew that, Travis. I got a disclaimer. So, yeah, take that with a grain of salt. The number one thing that I would do is I would have to make sure that I can handle the heat down here where I'm at. And you're in Texas, so yeah, the heat's going to be a factor. Have you worked outside all summer before? Is this something that you, is this something that you have done before in the heat all summer? You got to ask yourself that. Now, when it comes to equipment and all, well, all these guys touched on it, and I'll touch on it too. You know, I wouldn't go out and buy a bunch of equipment and everything. I would just kind of, and being 48 years old, you got an advantage that you might not think that you have. And your advantage is life skills and life, just, you know, making it to 48 in this world. That comes with, to do that, that comes with some, well, you had to have learned some skills along the way. And I'm not talking about landscaping skills. I'm talking about communicating skills, life skills, to where, you know, if you were 23 or 25, then there's a lot of things you might not know that a 48-year-old will know, as far as equipment, financing, and blah, 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 and how to get a deal, and work with what you got, and blah, blah, all that. Before I did anything, and I know that, and I ain't trying to, you know, minimize what anybody else said, you know, I'm gonna be honest about my experience, and then you can take it for what it is. The number one thing I had to do is I had to survive. I had to know that I could pay my bills. You know, I had to know that. And if I until that took place, nothing really mattered. And I mean, nothing mattered until I was able to pay my bills. And if you can't pay your bills, then there ain't no sense in doing you know, doing anything. You got to be able to pay your bills, and you're going to have to work into that. And if you're going to start a business, you know, in the spring of 23, then right now is when you need to be preparing for that. And I know, well, Ray, that's 6 months away, man. Hell, you know. But yeah, but it takes that much time to formulate a plan, build your money like it needs to be built, to where you can get a few pieces of equipment and mainly get some customers, man. And the way I started out is I started out getting customers from my family, you know, my friends on Facebook and that kind of thing. Just, you know, my family's friends and that kind of thing. But, you know, and that's how you kind of get your feet wet. And of course, I was still working a job too, and you may have to do both for a minute in order to be able to, you know, get where you need to get, right? Don't quit. If you got a job right now, don't quit it. Don't quit your job and all that. I would. You got to make sure that before you go investing a lot of energy, time, and effort into this, that you can do it. Like, what kind of physical shape are you in? Have you ever worked outside all summer in Texas before? You know, I can only tell you about Georgia, and it's pretty hot out here in the summertime. And to me, as I get older, and I'm 52, well, 53 now, damn. I'm 53, and I have been doing this since I was about 35 or so, 34. Yeah, 35, right around in there. Now, I didn't get legit at first, you know, and I'm not telling you to get legit or not to get legit. I didn't get legit until I knew that this is something that I was going to be doing. And legit, what I mean by legit is, and this is just the way I did it, and I'm going to tell you the way I did it. You can derive what you want to derive from it. I didn't get insurance. I had medical insurance, but I was solo. I had medical insurance through my wife's company in the beginning. I didn't even have insurance for the business. And I got lucky, you know. Well, I just didn't have any money. And to be honest with you, I didn't have the know-how to do anything. I didn't know that I needed this or that. Of course, now I have insurance and everything. And at first, the first thing I did was, so I could keep Uncle Sam off my rear, is I got a tax ID number. That was one of the first things that I did. And you fill out a form, at least you did then, I don't know how you do it now. You fill out a form and you get the tax ID number from the feds. And then once you got that tax ID number, that's your number for life. At least it, you know, this is how I understand it. And some of the guys in the comments might be able to straighten me on some of the stuff. But once I got the EIN number, well, then that makes it legit where you can file your taxes, because you don't want to get in tax trouble off the muscle. You don't. Because the government is one of the few entities that can, well, they can shut you down, you know, or literally freeze your account and everything. You don't want to start making good money and then get your account froze behind some stupid stuff. And I don't remember, and I don't remember, but I think that I hadn't, and I might be, you know, don't quote me on this. I think that I had to have a business license, and in my state and city, being a landscaper, well, I mean, to get a business license is just a formality. It's $35. That's what it costs. I mean, it's nothing. You know, you don't even have to go up there and show them nothing. But in order to get a business license, you don't have to have anything. You know, I mean, it's been so long, you know, things might have changed. I don't know. You just got to have $35. And when I got my business license back in 2009, see, I went a whole year without anything. because I wasn't sure if this is what I was going to do, and I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And you know, my channel is 100% real. You know, this is not, you know, I'm not an educated businessman or nothing. So I'm just a guy out here that got laid off his job, and you know, started, you know, just trying to survive. Of course, I was doing this a little bit on the side, but I never thought I'd be doing it full time. But once I got the tax ID number, then I knew that I could, you know, I was legit as far as the feds go, and that was important to me at the time. I don't know how important that is or not nowadays, but that was important to me at the time. And once they give you that number, then you never have to, they'll send you a paper in the mail. At least they did back then. They sent me a paper in the mail, and you can't forget that number or lose that number, because they will not assign you another one. At least that's what they told me back then. Now, insurance, well, for me, my first year, I didn't have no insurance out here. I'll be honest, man, I didn't. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing it. I wasn't even sure if I could do it, right, and make it. I started off with, I didn't even start off with a tractor mower or nothing. I started off borrowing somebody's mower, and but I was kind of pushed into this because I lost my job, and I was, you know, I was desperate, but I didn't have any big money. What I did is, I can remember it like yesterday, is I went to Home Depot and I filled out a credit form, and they gave me a $500 credit line. I took that $500 credit line, I went into the store, filled it out, bam, I was approved for $500. They wouldn't give me no more than that. I was approved for $500. And then I went right over there and I got a tractor mower. And this is after I had done used some friends' mowers and some other mowers that friends of mine and family members had. You know, yeah, and that's how I got, you know, my first mower, my own mower. And it was, maybe I'll put a picture of it up right here. It was a John Deere tractor mower, LA 105 or something like that. I thought I hit the big time then. But I took that $500 credit line. I went to, and I was at the Home Depot when I filled the form out, and I was approved right there. Then for $500, then I bought the John Deere tractor mower, and so I spent the whole $500 that I had in credit. And then I pulled, you know, like $600 out of my pocket, you know, and rolled the dice somewhat. But I had already been cutting a few lawns here and there, you know, by borrowing mowers and stuff. See, it's kind of hard to tell you everything, because I don't know where you're at as far as, have you been cutting grass before? Have you ever done it for money? Are you going from an office job to a total outside job? Are you, you know, do you have experience in this game at all? Have you ever worked for anybody that's does lawn care? That kind of thing. See, I don't see, so I'm coming from a place of just plain Jane, right? Because obviously, if you got a little experience, even if you just work for somebody else, I mean, even if you just work for somebody else for a brief period, you're gonna have a leg up on somebody that don't know nothing. And then it goes back to your 48 years of life experience that a 22-year-old don't have. So though you may not have the physical ability of a 25-year-old, you can make up for that in your mental aptitude. You know, see, I was 35 or so, and I mean, I was still, and I still am, but not like I was much more able to do the physical stuff then than I am now. but I was right in the middle there, where I didn't know enough to do to outthink things, and but I had the physical ability to overcome a lot of stuff, right, and learn along the way. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I still have the physical ability to overcome a lot of things, but what I got more now than the physical ability is I have the mental aptitude to know what to do, how to do it, and the fastest way to do it without the minimal, with minimal back-breaking labor. So, and don't ever minimize how you work your money. Make your money work for you, But that is a learned thing, And again, I don't know what kind of life experiences you have that have got you to 48, but you got to play on them, even if they're not in the lawn care landscape game. Don't think, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but don't think that you're going to jump out there and do lawns like you see me do, or Randall do, or Doc do, or a lot of the other guys that you see that I shouted out earlier. You might, but you might not. And, it's going to be according to your geographical area. And I've never been to Texas, so I have no idea. I know it's hot, So you probably got, I don't know. I mean, I would imagine you got a lot of hot weather grass there. But moving on, so use this wintertime, right? If it's something you're going to do, and you're going to have to dedicate yourself somewhat before you see a payoff. You're going to have to, in order for you to because if you wait until next March or April to start getting things together, well, you might be too late by then, because by then everybody's looking for a lawn trailer, everybody's looking for a lawn mower, and everything costs more. It does. If you're going to buy a lawn mower, now's the time to buy one. If you got it and it's not going to take from your family. If you're going to buy a trailer, now's the time to buy one. As long as it doesn't, hurt your financial that you are in right now. If you can borrow father-in-law's trailer, or got a buddy that's got an old trailer, and and you can fix it up, and that kind of thing, you got to use some of your life experiences to save you money. I wouldn't expect a 22-year-old to have the life experiences that you have. So when I started mine at 35, I had a lot of life experience too. And I had numerous jobs doing framing, building fences, building decks, framing houses. So I knew a lot about how things were put together. So I could buy an old raggedy trailer, and I could put a new wood floor on it, and bam, I got a good trailer. And that's what I did. Save me money. I'd buy a raggedy trailer for peanuts, but you're going to need a trailer. So you can start getting the infrastructure that you're going to need for next summer, but you can start doing that now. But you can't do all that and then decide in the spring, oh, I don't feel like doing that, because then you don't wasted all your energy and everything. You got to dedicate yourself to saying, okay, I'm going to do this lawn care thing for a season and see how I feel. If I was 48 jumping into this game, that's how I would be thinking. Let me see how I like it. I'm gonna do this, one season, and see how it goes, and see how your body handles the heat, and see if you can make money at it, and all those things. But in order, you don't want to spend a bunch of money to find that out. You want to try to spread your spending out over the winter. I mean, I can remember you know, back when I first started, my family said, well, what you want for Christmas? You know, like, my man, everybody doesn't have it, you know. What you want for Christmas? And I'd say a Home Depot gift card so I can buy some boards for my trailer. See, those kind of things. I can remember trading my Xbox for a chainsaw. Yeah, and I was doing a lot of other stuff, you know, that wasn't just lawn care. If you just try to do just lawn care, well, I hope you got some money banked up, because it's going to take you a minute to get enough customers to support yourself. You're not going to, you know, jump out there and do like me and Shane and Randall and all these guys do. It's going to take you a minute to be able to, well, manage your money and make sure that you're not spending more than it required to get the money that you're getting for each job that you're doing. What else? Now, when it comes to advertising and all, I don't do any advertising. And I don't know how people do it these days. I don't advertise at all. I've never really advertised hardcore. Now, what I will do is like this time of year, I'll throw an ad up on Craigslist for skid steer work and stuff like that, and see what happens. I do that kind of thing when we're going into the winter, but I only do it one. You know, I'll just put one ad up, and I've never done door hangers. I've never went in the neighborhoods and thrown rocks in people's mailboxes, and none of that. Never done none of that. Never. So that was Zach riding by me. So as far as advertising goes, I don't know, man. You might have to advertise more than it's according to. I mean, there's so many factors, man. That can't nobody really tell you everything. You know, and there's a lot of information that we don't know, and we're trying to give you advice on things, and we don't really know the whole story. Where are your finances at right now? You know, do you have a job right now? The best advertising to me is word of mouth. And I'm gonna tell you this though, for sure, that people, and I know it's probably gonna get some younger guys butt hurt, but people, homeowners, commercial people alike, they like to have somebody that's got a little bit of life experience. They're gonna, as long as you're physically fit to do it, and you can't weigh 600 pounds and come out here and be 55 years old and think you're gonna get a customer before a fit 30-year-old. But if you're physically fit enough to do this type of work, and you're 48 or whatever, the customers are going to more likely hire you, because they know that you're probably, not all the time, but you're probably more responsible than a 25-year-old. And that's not a dig at a 25-year-old, because I was 25 at one time too. And a lot of the 25-year-olds that might think that's a dig, well, wait till you get my age, and then you'll know what I'm saying. I don't expect everybody to really agree with what I say or do. So this video is getting a little bit long, so that's just a few things to start out. Number one, commit. Right? You got to commit, and that is, well, that's everything, as a lot of the guys said. I can't go into what everybody else any better than what everybody else in the comments has said. I mean, they have covered just about everything. yeah. As far as one thing, as far as getting a business account and all of that, well, I would make sure before I did that, I would make sure that this is something that I'm going to do. You know, my first year, well, hell, my first 2 years, I didn't have a business account. I just ran it through my but I had a EIN number, a tax ID number, a Fed tax ID number. I just ran everything through my personal checking account, and then I paid taxes on everything. One thing just to put out there that I ran into, if I remember right, and don't quote me on everything, if I remember right, is that when I went to the bank to get a bank account, they wanted my EIN number, my federal tax ID number. Without that, they were not going to let me open up a business account. And another thing, just a little thing, another thing is whatever name you put on the tax ID, and this is just my experience, here's my disclaimer again, whatever name, it's a little thing, but whatever name you put on the tax ID with the feds, whatever name, when they send you that paper back and you got that paper, and it show and they have assigned you a tax ID number, it's going to have your business name there too. And I use that to get, I can't remember, to get my business license, or I got my business license and then did that. I don't remember how it fell, but I know that when I went to the bank to open up a business account, I had changed the name of the business as far as this county knew, right? When I went and renewed, so I had a business, so I went and renewed the business license, and I changed the name of the business license. I mean, I changed the name of the business, where I think it was Ray's Lawn Care. I wanted to change the name to Ray's Landscaping because I did a lot more than lawn care. So the county did that, no problem. But when I went to the bank to get the my bank account in the business's name, and I took the business license that the county had given me, and I gave it to the lady at the bank, and then I took the EIN number that the feds had gave me and put it on the desk for the lady. The names were different, and I couldn't get a business account in that name, not assigned to that tax ID number. And once that tax ID number is assigned to you, it never changes. It's like your social security number for the business, is the way I understand it. And I know there's going to be people that might come in here and say something different. I don't know. I'm just telling you my experience, and I got a disclaimer right here. So that's just a little thing that put me off, and that made it where I didn't get a business account for a few years after. I went down to the bank to get a business account, and I couldn't get one in that name. I was going to have to go back and change the name back to Ray's Lawn Care in order to get the checking account, the business account in Ray's for the business. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. And they used to do things a little bit different with the county than they do now. Now, to update my business license, it's nothing. But back in the day, they used to base it on your money, on your taxes. You had to take your taxes, all your tax forms down to the county and to get a business license to show that you are actually that you file taxes as a business and all that. So, and I know I might not be correct about the timing of everything and all that, or what comes before what, but these are things that you need to be thinking about when you are establishing your business. little things that can save you a lot of frustration and a lot of anguish and a lot of time. You know, my business banking account didn't come to life until, hell, I was probably 3 or 4 years in, you know, when I really started making good money. And my accountant, you always have an accountant do your taxes. Yeah, everybody said that, I think. So don't ever think, unless you are, you know, some kind of business major, I just let an accountant do my taxes, because it can get pretty complicated when you're writing everything off like I do, and you're running a business. What else is a thing that really was a and you notice I haven't really talked about equipment, because the equipment is really not, in the beginning, is not your number one thing. You have to get out there and get your feet wet in order to know what equipment you need to buy. What kind of lawns are you getting? If I'd have jumped out there in the very beginning, man, and I bought, I don't know, 2 48-inch stand-on mowers for $9 each, then that would have been a huge mistake, because I wasn't getting those kind of lawns. And you don't know what kind of lawns you're going to get until you actually get out there and where you're going to fall. You know, that's just one reason that you need to slow down and work with what you got. Minimal expenses on the equipment side, so when you do pull the trigger on something that costs a lot of money, that you are getting the correct piece of equipment. Nothing would be worse than buying, you know, 48-inch stand-on mowers when you see the properties that I do. I mean, if you look at, I don't know if you watch my channel or what, you know. That would have been a big waste of money. And that would have, but see, that would have affected the business in a negative way for years. So I would have, I would not have been able to take on the customers that I take on. And the business will not be where it is now. It might be better, you know, but it might not be too. It might be, you know, I might have went bankrupt, because the kind of customers that I was getting, you know, back in the day are, you know, well, they're bigger properties. I was always looking for the bigger properties. Everybody doesn't do that. But if I'm telling you this, and this is just between me and you, if you're getting older, and this is just my opinion, I got to waiver. If you're taking on these little bitty yards where it requires a lot of weed eating and edging and all of that, you can make a living at it. But as you get older, it's a lot more work. And you're going to have to rely on labor to make a good living. Just my opinion. And, you know, you can run into some of the bigger yards the same way. But most of my bigger yards, the detail is not any more than, is usually less than the manicured lawns. It's usually less. Usually it's a gravel driveway, so you don't have to edge nothing. It's, you know, that kind of thing. The roadside is asphalt, and you don't have to edge the roadside. There's no sidewalk, you know, that kind of thing. Where you want a machine to do everything. You want the lawnmowers to do everything. And once you establish that you can do this, so you establish that you can do this first before you do anything. You gotta make sure that you're in physical fit and you can handle the heat, and your mentality is where it needs to be in business for yourself. For instance, are you disciplined with your money? Can you hold $1? See, if you're 25, you're less likely to be able to hold $1 than if you're 48. But I have seen some 48 and 50-year-olds that can't hold $1 either. Do you have the self-discipline it takes to get up every day and chase, you know, you got to ask yourself that. If you don't have none of that, then there's no point in doing any of the other, right? And only you know that, and I don't know, you know, I don't know where you're coming from or any history about you. This is just broad, you know. Some of the things that I think about if I were going into business for myself now, knowing what I know now after 16, 17 years in the game.